Right, okay, let's get a real basic out of the way first. It's clearing your cache and your browser history from your Chromebook. Uh, a lot of the times this might not be particularly big, but it could make a difference. If you're anything like me, I use like online DAWs and things like that, and I've got loads of kind of applications and extensions and things that run. So right now I'm recording my screen using Loom, and it will take up more browser space. So what you need to do with that, okay, is if you open up a Chrome window, there's a couple of ways to get there, but I would say get used to some of these things you can type into the URL bar. So I'm going Chrome, colon, and then 2 dashes. This is going to apply a couple of times during the video. And then I'm going to, for this one, type in settings. This takes me to the Google Chrome settings. For just about everything, and I'm going to go down to privacy and security and clear browsing data. Now in this particular little pop-up here, you can see you've got a couple of different options. You've got your browsing history, if that's something you don't want to get rid of because you want to be able to access previous tabs and things, fine, you can uncheck that box. Cookies and other site data, that can obviously help it load and things like that, and obviously the cached images and files. Now, all of these things can take up various amounts of data, so depending on what you want to do, I would say if you're going to do it for all of time, because what you're then doing is everything just kind of goes. And if you only do this once every 3, 6, 12 months, okay, because it's not that big a deal unless you constantly accrue a lot of cache files in there, okay. But once you've done that, it will clear some space. You just need to hit clear data, and there it goes. Simple as that. Hi guys, I'm Andy, aka googleman, and welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be clearing some memory from your Chromebook, and this is going to be particularly useful if you are approaching the memory limits of your machine, which is something that I definitely was very, very recently, and I've set you to show the kind of impact that some of these things are going to have, okay? One or two of these things might take a little bit of time and might seem a little bit crazy when you first start to do them, but bear with me, okay? Believe me, this will get really, really useful. So let's just jump straight in. So what we're now going to do is just have a quick look at where you find all the information about what is saved onto your Chromebook and what is taking up the memory, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the search button on the left-hand side there, and I'm just going to type in settings, and it'll take me to my Chromebook settings now. What I'll then be able to do is I will go to the device part of the menu, okay? So I've got device, and then in the next bit I'm going to go to storage management, and this will tell me everything I need to know about memory on the machine. As you can see, I've got in use about 20.4 gigabytes with 11.6 available. That's actually going up at the moment because I have files that are syncing to my computer. I'll talk about that in a moment. The different sections underneath that break this down a little bit for you. You've got the My Files section. This is anything in your downloads folder, your Google Play files, games and things like that. Anything you download directly onto the Chromebook in the kind of those kind of categories. Mine's obviously empty. I don't have games on here, and I don't keep things in the downloads folder. I put it straight to my Google Drive. So there's nothing in there. The next bit is browsing data. So that's your cached files, that's your browser history and things like that. Now, if you've done the first step already from earlier on, this might say very, very little. It might even say 0 if you haven't opened your browser since, and that's absolutely fine. It will accrue a little bit over time, but unless you become desperate, it's not really anything to worry about. Apps and extensions is fairly self-explanatory. Any application, so if you look across my bottom bar, I've got Google Docs and YouTube, and I've got Google Jamboards on there as well. So they will all take up space on there as apps. And then underneath that, you've got other users. That is if you've got more than one login on your machine, whether it's another one for yourself or someone else in your household or your business that works on that machine. I've got 2 sides to this machine myself, because I have obviously the googleman side that we're using right now, and I also have my teacher side of this as well. And as you can see, this side of the Chromebook, the other side that I'm not on now, is taking up 1.5 gigabytes of space, and that will be its browser history, that will be its downloaded files and things like that. If I were to flip over to my side of this, you will see that this number would be significantly bigger because I've got more files downloaded on this side than I do on the other right now. And then the bottom one is system. Now, the main part of your system is obviously the operating system for the Chromebook itself, your Linux operating system. But something that until relatively recently I was unaware of is that this also encompasses things like your Google Drive synced files. Now, in my brain, I thought they went into my files, and I used to be really confused as to where my memory was being used. But it turns out these files go here. And this is where we are actually going to begin, is getting rid of those files. Now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to strip them away. We can't obviously get rid of the operating system, and we can't directly delete the files from here. When we even go into files, you can empty your downloads folder, you can take away applications, you can remove extensions. But getting rid of these other files that are synced from your Google Drive takes an extra step, and that's what we're going to cover here. So now I am first of all going to go to my files application down here, okay? And what I'm actually going to tell you to do might sound a little bit crazy, but stick with me. It'll be worth it. So over, you can see it's making some files available offline. And what I've got is an entire folder of things that I don't necessarily want all of. So I need to make a change. If I click on Google Drive and then offline, you'll be able to see everything that is either available or being made available for offline use. Okay, this is where you would edit it and it would sync up later on. Okay, I've talked about this in a previous Chromebook video, which I'll link above and below for you. But I don't want all of these things. I want to be far more selective about what I'm going to have available offline. So what I need to do is go back up to my main Google Drive, and you can see I've got a tick next to AKA. AKA is like my main folder for making videos. It's where I store a lot of the things that I use when I work. And currently with that tick, you can see it's available offline and has that checkbox available there as well. So what I'm going to do is toggle that to off. Now that means that any changes I now make in my Google Drive or on my Chromebook will no longer sync up, okay? And that's step number one. However, this doesn't resolve the problem entirely because it doesn't delete the files that have already been synced. So I need to take another step in order to do this. So what I now need to do, okay, is open a Chrome window, and I'm going to use the beginner Chrome in there, and then I'm going to type in drive-internals, okay, drive-internals, and this takes me to a very sparse little window. There's lots of information on here. Actually, if you scroll down, lots of every event and error log and everything that happens, but I'm not interested in any of that. I don't care about it. The thing that I am most interested in is here under drive debug. I've got clear local data, and that's what I want to do. This will get rid of everything that was in that offline folder. Okay, don't worry about that. Okay, that's just a standard warning. Now, what will then happen is if I go back now to my settings, you will see that where I was at about 20 gigabytes before, I'm now only on 15. Okay, with obviously the 1.5 from the other user, and the system 13.2 is basically just the operating system there in there now. It takes up quite a bit of space. So now I can start fresh. So I'm going to go back to my files and go to Google Drive because currently nothing is available offline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose some folders or a folder to be made available offline because they're the things I'm working on right now. They're my current projects. Okay, so I'm going to go into here, into my YouTube folder, and into this area here. And I'm going to come down to video number 30, which is one that is coming up soon. And I just want to make that one available offline. Okay. What that will now do is it will start syncing that to my machine. It'll take a little bit of time and it will take up a little bit of memory, okay? But this means that if I happen to be working on this particular project and I'm offline, that I can do that really, really easily, and then it will sync up when I get an internet connection again. But it's just limited to that. And what I would recommend is that you go through this process perhaps every couple of months. The folders that you have selected to be downloaded could be schemes of learning that you're currently teaching. It could be the lead up to a big presentation that you are getting ready for. Perhaps if you speak publicly, it could be all the files related to that. And then once you're ready and you're starting a new set of projects, you can go through and you can audit that again, get rid of the things you don't want, and just then reselect the things that you are working on at that point. It's quite an extreme way to deal with this, but it's really, really worthwhile. Okay, next, and I'm back in my browser. It's time to deal with those apps and extensions, okay? So for this, I'm going to go Chrome // that same thing again, and then extensions. This will take me to a list of every application and extension I have got loaded onto this Chromebook, all connected to Google Chrome. I've spoken about a few of these things before. Okay, I've talked about AdBlock and Clipboard History Pro previously. There you will spot there are a couple of new ones on there. There's going to be a video coming up talking about my new extensions and their uses soon, so stay tuned for that one. Now, what I can do with this is if I have anything on there that I don't want anymore, okay, whether that is a Chrome app or whether it is an extension. So for example, I don't need the Google Meet attendance anymore. I'm not doing enough online lessons to make that worthwhile. So I just click remove, and that is gone, and that little bit of memory that was taking it will go. Now, over time, you will accrue lots of extensions and apps that you don't use. It's like when you have your phone, you will always have things that you are not currently using that when you got them, they were great and you used them loads. So it's well worth going through this again, perhaps only every few months at absolute most, perhaps twice a year, just to make sure that you're not taking up little bits of memory that otherwise would become available. So that's a nice, easy, quick one for you. Okay, guys, so that's it. So hopefully you now have a much less clogged up Chromebook. I know when I did this, I cleared gigabytes and gigabytes of space on the Chromebook, because if your memory gets too full, it will stop responding and you'll have lots of other issues to kind of deal with. So this is really, really worth doing. Please check out my channel for other videos to do with Google Workspace. Obviously, there will be some that are linked along the way. And please go to my website, akagoogleman.com, and sign up for email updates as well. I'll see all of you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching. Until then, stay well, stay safe. Googleman out.